You fucked up. You trusted us.
Yeah.
That's Chris Greer.
All right, let's get on into the MLB. All right, we're going to be talking MLB. Let's get into this real quick. I don't want to get too heavy into the overall MLB because still very early in the season. If you look at the overall the leaderboard here, I'll pull it up on the screen. We have, let's see. I mean, Red Sox still in first. That's weird, but Yankees are starting to make a push for sure. Royals in first, which is not totally odd, but it's just not who I picked. And then you have the A's in the West, who are, of course, going through a hot streak overall throughout the season, the beginning of the season. But, Angels, Astros, I expect them to make some pushes towards the middle of the year, as a lot of these teams are going to. So as of right now, there's no huge surprises just because it's so early on in the season. We haven't even played 30 games yet. So I would say, I mean, you could even look at across the league.
And they're a 500 team feasting on a really shitty Tigers team over the weekend to get themselves to 500. Yay! Right, I'm so excited. I will say Kluber.
Wait, we're not getting the Yankees. Not the Yankees yet. Not yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, hold on a second. So we're going to get into. I just wanted to talk just how crazy the league is in general right now. It's early on in the season. You have some teams that, either didn't get hit by bugs or did or whatever are. They get streaky at the beginning of the season because that's when their bodies are healthy. Like the Nationals are playing well right now, but they're still only 500, but they're leading their division, which is weird. Yeah. Nobody really picked the Nationals to run away with this. It was
the Mets. I guess technically the Mets are technically in first because they're also 500 and they have one less loss. So one team is 11-11, one team is 12-12.
But the Nationals have one more win too. So yeah, it's technically, I guess,
always the team with the lower losses.
They played 2 less games. So yeah, but according to the MLB rankings, they're not. They're in second, but it's fine. And then you go to, the Brewers, which is not odd for them to be in first place. We kind of picked that. And then the one that's really odd, another one,
the Giants
in first place. They're running away with the NL West, which is so incredibly weird.
The Dodgers are right there, but yeah.
I mean,
come on, the Dodgers
and 11. I mean, that's ridiculous for a team that should be in last.
4 teams in that division over 500, by the way.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Competitive.
It's a ridiculous year so far. And that's kind of what happens a lot. And, I expect, like I said, I expect the Yankees to be in first at the end of the year. I expect them over the long haul of this season to end up being well, which will take us into the state of the Yankees.
The state of the Yankees.
And the state of the Yankees for me is very, very easy over the last week or so. That is some of the big boppers like Stanton and Judge hitting. Even Urshela's hitting better. LeMahieu's still batting, hit about, I think he was about 300 last week. A lot of those guys are hitting well. Even, Sanchez. I mean, not Sanchez, Gleyber Torres. Even him, he's even hitting a little bit better. So when that happens, their offense is playing better. Their rotation is still pitching well. Kluber's pitching lights out. Cole's still pitching lights out. Taillon's coming in and pitching well. Montgomery's pitching okay to good. You have a rotation that's pitching well. You have offense that's starting to click. Yeah, you're going to be playing better. And they beat up on a team like the Detroit Tigers.
Top 5 bullpen.
And that's fine.
By the way.
So they're playing better. They're playing a little bit better. I hope they can continue this when they play some more difficult teams with better
By the
pitching.
way, would you like to make just a side bet for maybe a 4-pack or something that at some point this season, Aroldis Chapman is going to get hit with a PED suspension? I have almost no doubt.
Why do you think that?
Well, for starters, he's throwing over 100 again consistently, which he has not done in over a couple of years. Okay. First of all, he's enormous. I mean, he was always big.
Yeah.
He looks bigger to me this year. I just don't understand how, and what's really wacky is that when he's throwing 100, he's like really hitting his spots. I remember a couple of years ago when he was throwing over 100, it seemed like more often than not, a lot of those pitches were out of the strike zone because it's just so hard to control the ball that you're throwing that fucking fast. Mm-hmm. I just don't. And the guy's older. I mean, you're not supposed to be throwing 100 to 102 when you're getting older.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying I'd bet my life on it, but I'd bet a 4-pack.
Okay.
So if you want to take that bet,
I'm not going to take that bet because I don't put it past anybody. It's just, that's really just like a gamble for me.
It's just, he's Benjamin Buttoning, and it's really a little weird to me. And he looks as good as he's ever looked. Well, he did add that slider, so that's a nice pitch. I'm
not going to say I'm not going to say he's not, but I will say I think certain players like this that are a little older are going to benefit from a short last year.
Well, all right. Okay. Maybe.
I think that you could come back healthier because, he only pitched like 30 innings last year, which is about half of what he normally does. And he had some time to lift some weights, got a little bigger in the off season, maybe was working with certain...
Just like busting out of that jersey, man.
He's always been kind of broad, though.
Oh, no, he's always been big. He's always been a big dude. I mean,
that's a guy you never really want to meet in a dark hallway, dark alley or anything like that.
I wouldn't fuck with him.
He's a big dude. Who knows? I mean, big dudes don't always have the best. He's very lanky too, which is not really great for fighting.
Hey, Debo was a big dude, and Craig Jones knocked him out.
That's right. Got knocked the fuck out.
So, man, you got knocked the fuck out. And then he takes his money. Anyways,
great movie. All right, so yeah, I wouldn't put it past him, but I also wouldn't. I would say he could just have done it legit because half the season, coming back, working out, staying healthy. Yeah, he could come back and do it. And
I will say that for Aroldis Chapman, he puts the work in physically. He puts the work in. He always has. Yeah. That's not something that, I mean, at least in terms of keeping his body toned and firm, and he's in good shape. I'll give him that. He's not lazy. It's just weird to me because dude, he comes in now, and I feel like there's I feel like whatever team has zero chance.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I've never felt that way about him.
No, he's always been wild, so he's always had some. He gets into that wild zone and he can't control it. He just hasn't really.
He will have a game or 5 like that this year. No doubt about it.
When his arm's tired.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. He hasn't pitched a lot.
Right.
So when he comes in, he's just.
Which is also weird for him because he's always been someone that needs semi-regular work.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's another conversation.
I don't know.
Not knowing how to handle the bullpen.
Throwing strikes is not something that would come with steroids. I don't think, unless it's just you throwing.
No. The velocity,
getting more velocity.
It's the velocity.
But he's hitting his spots, which is.
He's hitting his spots unbelievably. Yeah.
So maybe it's just easier. I don't know. Maybe he's recovering. I don't know.
Listen, I'm not going to get excited about what the Yankees did over the weekend. They beat probably the worst team in baseball, the Tigers. I mean, that lineup is a joke. Even with Miguel Cabrera, it's a joke. And I'm hearing Coney and all these people talk about how Kluber was like a vintage Kluber and I'm like, no, he's not vintage Kluber. I mean, he was good. He's pitching against a AAA team. Yeah, right. He struck out 10 AAA. He hit his spots and it was like a spring training game. He had a good game. He had a good, solid game. This is a good step in the right direction. Well, that was my point. Was, between him and Tyone, you're starting to see them taking steps in a positive direction. That's what you want. You want to see these guys build up their arm strength so that they're ready to give you 6 to 8 innings down the stretch when you're really going to need them in the dog days of summer. Ooh. But they are building up right now. So I'll say that. The lineup, every time I see that fucking lineup card, I keep saying to myself, how is this team going to win 90 games? I just don't see it. They'll get there. I don't know. I just don't see it. They're going to have to feast on bad teams. But the problem is, in the AL East, they allowed everyone else to catch up to them because the Yankees, they didn't really do a lot this offseason. They did nothing with the lineup. No. They I mean, they tweaked the bullpen. I would not say they fortified it, but the bullpen was already relatively strong to begin with. Now, here's what I will say about the Yankees.
They're strong.
Here's what I'll say about the Yankees. In July, like maybe even before then, trading deadline wise, your acquisitions should be Zach Britton and Luis Severino, and that is going to be the key to this season. What those two guys bring to this team.
Yeah.
That's really going to be. That's what it's going to come down to. I mean, it's just that's it.
I'm very interested to see how Luis Severino does. I want to see how he does when he comes back. I want to make sure he's not tipping pitches.
Not tipping pitches.
I mean, and that's something he's had the chance to work on for the last year and a half. So I would hope that he's been watching himself in video a lot and seeing what he was doing and not doing that again. But that takes maturity, and I don't know if he's got that. We'll find out when he comes back.
I will say so far, the guy that I am most impressed with on this team, bullpen reliever, bullpen starting pitching, everyday player, otherwise, is Jonathan Loaizaga. Okay. He looks like a completely different pitcher to me. His body language is different. He looks like a confident guy. I know it's Britton's role now. I believe Jonathan Loaizaga will be the setup man for this team at some point in time. I think his stuff is that good.
You just need. I like him in the middle, in the middle somewhere.
No, I do too, because he can give you length, right? Yeah. He can give you length, but I would not mind.
I would never want to put him in that role of setup guy, because now you're limiting his innings, and then you have to kind of oh crap, we need somebody to hold somebody in the fourth inning, unless
he could be that seventh and eighth inning guy, in a playoff scenario, if his stuff ever was to that sort of dominance. Yeah, I don't like a young Mo Rivera where you could get him in there.
Yeah, I would rather have him in that middle of the road. He comes in the sixth and seventh inning, and that where you can push him a third inning. He'd still be good. In case somebody gets knocked out in the third, he can get you to the sixth or the seventh. And
my brother and I were talking about that over the weekend, and he would agree with you. He likes him. He likes him more. But yeah, because it is important. I mean, it's just as important.
How key was Ramiro Mendoza? I mean, we all loved it. Yes. He was an unsung hero for the Yankees.
The witch doctor.
Yes.
El Brujo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very underrated.
But I like Johnny Lasagna. He's definitely taken some steps. He really is. You can see it.
Yeah. Hey guys, go Bills! Yes, Clint, it's nice to have you back.
Oh, Clint, where's he been?
We gave our talk on the Bills a little while ago. Feel free to go back and check it out. We will definitely repost it. Probably either tomorrow or the next day, just the clip of our NFL draft recap, and we will. We also have something on Twitter that you can go vote on. Who had the best draft in the AFC East? Bryman thinks the Jets. I think a lot of people think Dolphins. Some people think the Patriots, and overall, nobody thinks the Bills. But I don't think the Bills had a great draft either. But it's not because of they didn't draft who they got. It's just you go back and check it out. But go and hit that like and subscribe button and notification bell. We really appreciate it. We will be touching on our recast for Friday, the movie Friday, in just a little bit. But do you have anything else you want to touch on with the Yankees?
No.
Going forward this coming week, do you want?
I just want to embarrass myself with the Friday recast and then go on with my week.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's get into our and then we'll spin the wheel of destiny at the end.
Yes.
We'll spin the wheel of destiny, which we have to actually put a new movie in for recast a movie we have to replace Friday, so we have to come up with a new movie. So if we hit that one, we're just gonna have to spin again. We still have recast a movie Animal House in there.
Oh my God.
I know you're the one who wanted to do that one. And then, so we have some things that we have to do. And if we ever get Franklin and Bash, we're just going to come up with things on the spot, and then we'll spin the wheel again. So that's just do stuff that day. And it's going to be real brief on our way out. Who would win in a fight? Vintage Mike Tyson versus vintage Muhammad Ali. Something along those lines, just real quick, and just kind of talk it on the way out. Okay?
All yep.
Right. So let's get into our sorts. Question of the day.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm gonna sort it out.
I got to come up with a good thing for that, because we're going to use that audio clip.
Yeah.
I have an idea of what I want to do. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
All right.
Let's get into recasting a movie. Friday, baby. This is a really tough one. If you can, go ahead and put in your comment sections and say who you think would be a good person to play Smokey, because that was probably the toughest one. I had a tough time.